Alright, what's up, Ride Warriors? Welcome back to Planet Coaster. Danny Miller here. This is part 5 of my Planet Coaster gameplay series, building a theme park here in Planet Coaster on the Deciduous Sandbox again. Eventually, the overall theme is going to be, not really a theme per se, but a park that would have existed in the 1980s. Classic 1980s rides that were around in the 1980s, things that would have been possible in the 1980s. So that's what we're going for here. Last time I put on my windows and some of the detail pieces around my park entrance gate here. So I think what I'm going to do on this episode, on this playthrough here, I'm going to put up a sign here with the park name on it, which is Evergreen Groves. And I think I'm also going to put some trees and foliage out here on this side of the gate. And then we'll probably move to the park side of the gate and start putting some park things on there. Oh, also got to do lighting. The lighting, again, looks amazing in this game, so we're going to do that. So, let's start off. What do we want to start with? Let's start off by doing the sign. Let's do the sign. So I'm going to edit the building, and basically, we've got a plethora of options as far as signs go here. I was actually poking around these a little bit earlier before I was recording. So if you go here, these are all your building, what they call wall signs. There's plenty of different types. You've got all sorts of editable ones that are lit to differing degrees. You know, you've got vertical signs, you've got, like, pennant signs, you've got a bunch of things that might actually look pretty good. I think Rob Dole used this for his. He used this ticket-looking sign. You've got this parallelogram sign, and these are all, a lot of these are pretty customizable in terms of, you know, colors and everything and what you can do. This one doesn't look like it's lit. I do want something that's lit. And I know that there's ones that look like this. They call it what do they call this here? They call this a catwalk lit sign. It's not. It looks kind of like coaster track to me. I don't know why it's called catwalk. You know, they've got these fancy coaster type signs. The one that I kind of like looking through these is this spoke wheel, which really kind of looks like a Ferris wheel of sorts. So I think what I'm going to do. I'm going to do my position snap and see if I can get it close to where I want it, because where I really want it, slide this down here so that that's not in my way. I want it to be, yeah, I'm going to turn the position snap off. It's not going to be helpful. What I'd like to do is sort of put it so that it's roughly centered. So I'm going to place it there. I'm going to change colors of these, and unfortunately, oh, see, this is an advertised destination, so we can do things with that. But this is the paint things which were available on some of these other smaller things that were up in this area that were blocked behind my recording thing that I keep talking about. You can't see, but I can see. So I have the ability to change this on the fly. So I'm going to do an advanced move on this, and I'm going to center it nicely on this path, which luckily you've got those diamond things down on the path, so that shows me where the proper center is. So if I zoom in all the way, I can see I'm just a little bit off, not by much. So maybe the best way to do this is to slide this all the way down so that I can zoom in, and I still have my advanced move tool right there. Again, just trying to get this, you know, absolutely perfect and centered and everything. I think that that's pretty damn close. Yeah, I think that's pretty good. So we're editing our main entrance again. If I zoom all the way in, it might be able to come to the left just a little bit. But generally, I think we're right there. Yeah, I think that's pretty good. I'm gonna move it just to the right, just a little bit more, and center it right in between that little gap there. And I think that's pretty good. I think that's about as good as I'm ever going to get. So now that I've got it centered, I'm going to use my advanced move tool, and what I want is I kind of want it sitting on top of these beams here. I think I kind of want it on top of that raised portion. So I'm going to lower it just until it clips through there, which looks to be about there. That's good, and then I'm going to bring it forward so that it's roughly lined up with the front edge. There we go. That looks pretty good to me, so I'm going to call that good. I'll hit my check mark, and as you can see now, if I loop back around, it's sort of it's sitting up there. It's sitting up there pretty nicely. Maybe I can lower it just a little bit so that this hanging over portion is clipping down through. Oops. So I'm going to lower it just so it's clipping through that back part just a little bit, right there. That's good. Okay, perfect. That looks pretty good. So now I've got this nice Ferris wheel looking thing. And as you'll see when I turn on the nighttime mode in a little bit, it's got these fancy flashing lights. Well, this looks pretty good. I think what I am going to do actually now that I've done that is I'm actually going to move it back a little bit so that the green is there, so that it kind of looks like it's sitting on top of that green bar there. I think that's perfect for what I want. So now what I'd like to do is I'm gonna set some colors here, and the gate here has sort of this. It's got this rustic, foresty, woodsy type of look with the browns and greens and sort of the muted green. So what I want to do is I want to make this much brighter. I want to make this sort of a very vibrant piece because it's sort of the main entrance sign. So I want it to be quite vibrant. So are these the lights? Are these the lights, or is that the color of it? It's very interesting. I'm kind of trying to decide what I want to do for colors. I don't know if I want to do. Oh, that's interesting. Do they like fade? Oh, okay. So I think what I maybe want to do is maybe do like a bright lime green here. Maybe it's even more of a yellow. Maybe I'll do more of like a golden yellow. It's closer to orange. How about that? Like a golden yellow for that piece, and then sort of do let's see, I can do like a medium green here. I think that looks good. And then for this piece, I can maybe I'll pick that same green, but then have it go a little bit darker on the scale as sort of the accent, if you will, is a little bit of a darker foresty green. That makes a good amount of sense. So there we go. I'm gonna have this yellow spoked wheel, if you will, kind of looks like a Ferris wheel, and then it'll be yellow in the middle with the lime green rims, if you will, and then the forest green accent. So I think that'll look pretty nice sitting there. It'll look nice. It'll stick out. I want it to stick out. I don't necessarily want it to blend in with everything else. So I think I'm happy with that for now. Just for argument's sake, if I were to switch the greens and the yellows and sort of do something like that. Now, see, I don't like that as much because I think it's too much yellow. So I'm going to undo that. I think having the yellow in the middle is better for this. So that's good. I like the way that kind of looks. So now we have that behind it, but then we still need to have the park name there. So we've got all sorts. We've got some options of some customizable signs. Some of them are lit, some of them are not lit. I want this to be lit, so I'm going to try and find something miscellaneous. Let's see if we can find something cool in here. Rectangular... Oh, see, that's quite large. That's too big. Oh, see, that's like almost the exact size that I would want. But it's just rectangular, so I wonder if I can find something that's a little bit more interesting as far as the shaping goes. That's kind of interesting looking. That's way too big. That's close, but it's rectangular. I don't really want something that's just a straight up rectangle. It's not really that interesting. Here's the pennant sign. I mean, that looks nice, but it sort of blocks out my Ferris wheel a little bit too much. Ooh, diamond lit. See, that's the same thing. It sort of blocks out my sign, my Ferris wheel. That's too big. I'm just sort of picking through the options here. I may end up with the flames, if you want your Ferris wheel on fire. Your miscellaneous falling star. What shall we go with? I'm kind of thinking maybe I'll just go with that. It's got the little piece that's hanging out underneath it. Yeah, that's okay, but I wish that was just a little bit bigger. Not that big. I wish there was a happy medium between those two. That one's, yeah, it's too small. That one's not bad. Is it editable? It says it's editable. How is it editable? It looks kind of weird. I think I am gonna go with this one. And now again, the trick here is gonna be doing the same sort of thing that I did with the other sign. And let's see, my paint is down there. What is this? I don't know what this is. I can see these paint options, but unfortunately, I can see them behind my little recording screen. So let's at least put this in Evergreen Groves. There we go. So there's the name of the park, and we've got some amount of text. We've got some different fonts that we can choose from. That one I don't completely hate. That one's pretty neat, but very piratey. Racing, that's kind of cool as well. Ranchers, no, that's a bit too cartoony for me. This one, a little not very legible. That one's not legible at all. I think I'm between the racing and oregano. Looks nice. That one looks like a little bit flowery, which isn't really what I'm going for. The Orbitron's nice. It's kind of sci-fi though. That's a little bit western. I think I'm gonna go with the racing, and I think that will work nicely. So now for the sign, we sort of get to decide what colors we're gonna go with. Let's try doing the green here. Oh, so it's a gradient. That's interesting. So we could go green here, and then the outline could be this darker green that we put in there. I'm not really a big fan of that one. That's the green. See, that green there is the same green that's on those cross beams. So I kind of like that it's not, that it's sort of blending in a little bit. So I think I may go with that there, and then I might do the yellow the other way around. I think I'll do the yellow for the outside gradients there. That looks pretty cool. For the outline, let's see if I can pick it. I can. I'm going to use that dark green as the, let's see, what looks better if I do that with a white outline? No, that's a little bit too tough on the eyes. I think I'm going to go with the dark green outline and go for white with the text. And I think that looks pretty good. So I'm happy with that. So let's go to the advanced move section again. And again, I had to sort of put position snapping off in order to get this aligned perfectly. So I'm going to do just sort of the same sort of thing I just did with the sign. This can go back down. And I'll sort of just center it as accurately as I can. Try and put my screen roughly centered in between. I'm using the paths on the side as sort of a guide. And we'll center it right there. I think that looks pretty good. And we'll raise it up. And we'll sort of let it live right there. I mean, I think that looks pretty good. I could lower it a bit so that that overhang is there. I don't know if I necessarily like that, though. I think having it in that sort of way is a little bit nicer. And then we'll zoom in and make sure it should be already on it. It is. So that works out just fine. So that's good. I like that there, and I think we're good with the editable sign. So now if I tap T and go into the first person view, if I'm down entering the park here, and this is like player height, I think that looks really cool. This is your entrance. You've got this nice, woodsy type feel. And you've got this lovely Ferris wheel here that's see through. You can still see the sky through it, which looks really good. And you've got the entrance there. I think that looks really good. So that's good. So what I'll do real quickly is I will set the lighting to 11 p.m. and you can see how that sign is lit. Compared to everything else in the game. So they're sort of backlit, if you will. I'll just unpause the game quickly. You can see it's quite nice looking. Are those? I thought those were lights. Maybe those aren't lights. Oh, I wonder if they are lights. Oh no, the accents. That's interesting. I thought those little dots in the middle were light. Oh, there they are. Huh. That was interesting. They didn't want to light up at first. So yeah, they're yellow lights. They follow whatever the middle is. So this looks really cool, right? So if you're coming into the park at night, coming in for a nightcap, you've got your after 5 p.m. ticket. You look up and you've got this wonderfully lit sign up there with the blinky yellow lights. They look pretty cool. So that's good. But the problem is that nothing else is lit up. And, there may or may not be people coming through. I don't have any rides built yet, so I don't know if people are coming through. Oh, there's the vendor guy. He wants to go on break. I don't have any staff buildings yet. Maybe I should put one of those in for him at some point. So this looks really good. I'm really happy with how this looks right now. So the next thing that I want to do, and when I say next thing, I mean not quite the next thing, is the lighting. Definitely got to do some lighting on the gate here and make it look fantastic at night so that it matches. And I think I'll probably stick with the green and yellow. I think that's kind of what I'm going for here with the green and yellow. I think that's kind of the way to go. But one thing I do want to do first is I get out of first person, and I want to make the park. I mean, if we're gonna have a park named Evergreen Groves, it would really make sense if we had some trees out here in front. We're gonna do trees on the inside as well, but we really want to have trees out front as well. So I'm gonna go to nature, and first I'm gonna do trees, and let's see what sort of let's see what type of nature we have. I'm just gonna do trees, which really didn't do anything, and we'll just kind of go through what we have here. We've got oak trees, we've got dead swamp tree, Douglas fir. Turn the position snap on. I wonder if it's not going to let me. Yeah, it doesn't want to do the position snap with trees. That's interesting. Maybe scenery it doesn't want to do it with. So sycamore trees. Yeah, I don't want anything that's like super massive here. It's just snowy black spruce, snowy blue fir tree. I mean these are nice. I'd love to put these along here, but I don't want anything snowy, and I wish that they would sort of snap. so that it looked that they were purposely there. Yeah, I mean, it's kind of tall. See, I kind of like the way that looks. I could place a bunch down. What else do we have? Before I start placing stuff, I want to sort of look at all my options here. I've got forest bushes. Oh, the bushes would probably look pretty cool. Yeah, I could probably put some bushes down. That would look nice. We have planters. Tree metal guard. Wow. The fact that you could put that around one of your trees is amazing. Gee, I don't know what we want to go for. We've got these wall climbers, which look kind of cool. We might do some of that at some point. Notifications. Blue fir, black spruce, alpine fir. Oh, see, that's yeah. I like the look and the size of that one. That looks good. So I think I like the alpine fir. So let me see if I edit the building. Let me double check. Can I not? I can't add trees to the grid. So unfortunately for me, for someone who likes the symmetry and everything, it might be difficult to do this. And at least get it to look perfectly symmetrical. So I'm just going to have to eyeball it. You can align the surface and put trees sticking out of things. So that's great. So I think what I'm going to do is I'll just plunk this down. I don't want to get it too close to the building, so maybe I'll plunk this down here. And then what I'll do is I'll do Control X, which is this is our duplicate, and go to Advanced Placement. So I can sort of drag it here. And if I hit Z, I don't think it will rotate. So I'll just snap it to 45-degree angles, so I can sort of rotate them about so that they don't all look the same. And they look to be roughly evenly spaced there, maybe a little bit more, right about there. That looks good. And then if I rotate this one, another 90 degrees or so, 45 degrees maybe. So there, now I've just got a couple of trees over here on the side, which they look good, and they don't look the same because I've rotated them, just using the same tree and just rotating them about a couple different ways. So that's good. I could maybe put one more down there, but I'll probably do some bushes and things around here as well. I might put some shrubs around here too, but I'd like to think that this would be pretty well maintained out front of the park. So I'm going to do my advanced move duplicate again here. I'm going to rotate this one 180 degrees-ish. There we go. And I'm going to want to place that slightly closer to the peak there. Again, I'm trying my best. Oh, oops. I want to do the advanced duplicate and move first, because my axis goes with it. I could use the global axis, but I already did the undo button. That's really the only reason. So I want it to be a little bit closer to the peak than it is to the overhang there, as far as the tree trunk goes. So I'll maybe move it over and have it about there. Then I'll do my rotate. I'm gonna do it, in that sort of way. Advanced duplicate and move. And then my next one is sort of a little bit farther to the left. This could actually be moved even more. Kind of center it up a little bit. That looks to be pretty close. And it almost aligns with where the trim goes in. That is what I'm going to use. Because I think there's a duplicate sitting here that oh, no, maybe not. Advanced duplicate and move. And I'm going to line that up basically with where the trim is inside the ground, because I can see it. If we get down a little bit lower, I can put it right about there, because that's right about where that one is. It's pretty much lined up exactly with where that trim goes into the ground. So I'm going to do that. And I'm going to rotate so that it doesn't look the same. And then I will advance, duplicate, and move this last tree. And, oops. I think when I hit undo right there, I think it moved it around on me. That kind of looks the same too. Did it undo my rotation? I'm trying to figure out what it did. I heard a bunch of noises. I just don't know if it actually did stuff or not. There we go. That definitely looks different now. And definitely looks centered. And now this one, if I advance, duplicate, and move, there we go. I will get it nice and centered. Again, trying to get straight on. And this is just another... again, this game is just so far more advanced and detailed than the Roller Coaster Tycoon games. But the nice thing about the Roller Coaster Tycoon games is you could go into that isometric view when you were building things, so you could get nice head-on views when you needed them. You know, just for the purposes of making things look symmetric and everything. It was fairly easy to do. So there we go. I think just having a couple trees out front looks pretty nice there. And we've got our entrance sign. So this is starting to look pretty cool, and it's got the look I want. I mean, I chose specifically not to do anything too elaborate on these pieces here, because I knew I was going to put some trees and stuff in the way, and you know, I'll probably put some bushes in around there that are growing out in front. That'll probably be a good idea. I probably should do that at some point. You know, maybe I can hide the lighting in there as well. I've been talking about the lighting for a couple of episodes now, so I think it's probably about time that I do some lighting. I've been talking about it for far too long now, so it's probably about time that I do some lighting. So we can actually add the lighting to the building, and you know, I'm gonna go to 11 p.m. So you can get a sense for just how dark this actually really freaking looks when you don't have lights here. So if we go to decorations, we've got lights. We've got all sorts of lights. You can have animated lights that sort of move around, which aren't moving around right now because I have the game paused. And they're sort of like these searchlights, those spotlights that kind of move around. I don't really think that's kind of the way to go for this. You've got these colorable area lights, which are basically just big spotlights that shine up at things. And those look really nice. Then you've got the floodlights, which are even bigger and just they light up everything. These are really used in this game, at least. These are used for lighting up your roller coasters and stuff and making them look really cool. And then you've got these event lights, and again, these are colorable. They can kind of point at anything you want. So that's cool. What I kind of want to use here is they call them these fairy lights, and these fairy lights are very cool. And again, they've got the snapping on, and they don't really snap to quite where I want. So I wonder if I turn the position snap off. See, they'll align to surface, but it's not quite what I want. So I think, unfortunately, I do have to have the position snap on, and they'll kind of go to my building the right way, and then I can just adjust the height. So what these do, and I'll plunk one down and then unpause the game so you can kind of see. They sort of do like a flashy type thing. They're called fairy lights, and they sort of twinkle, if you will. I'm not doing the twinkly bit at the moment. But yeah, so they sort of light up. They almost look like Christmas lights. At least the way that they are right now. But they're completely colorable, and of course, the thing right in this area, the colors are locked, or they're behind my big recording screen. There they go. So you can see that that's kind of what they do. They kind of do this lighting up thing, and they do the blinky thing. So I'm kind of thinking that that's what I'll do with these, and then maybe I'll put some light underlighting on the underside, maybe with some bushes. So I'm gonna pause the game again, and you've got these fairy lights. Oh, and they have these loose ones too. Oh, they have the loose ones that sort of look like they're hanging. I kind of like that. It kind of looks like they're strung up again, sort of like Christmas lights. It kind of looks like they're strung up that way. I'm gonna go with white for 2 of them. And they all change colors. They go through this like sequencing thing. So I think I'm going to go with the yellow. I think I'm going to keep the white, green, and yellow type thing going here. So then I'll go back to my yellow. So these are the colors that I've been using. I think that will look pretty nice. And then I'll do some sidewalk lighting and everything. So you can see that they sort of go through that little flashy dance, and they look quite nice. So I'm going to have to do the position snap, and then I'm going to have to do the advanced move, because they don't quite go to where I want them with position snap on. So now I can do this advanced move, and I can move them wherever I want. And as you can see, there is like this subtle backlighting type thing that they're doing. So I think I'm just going to kind of align them there, and I think that'll look good, kind of with that upper board there. So that's good. So now the question is, if I advance move, can I rotate and have them go where I want? And I don't... Yeah, so they don't really go where I want. I can rotate them and move them, but unfortunately I'm gonna have to do that. So I think what I'm going to do is place all of them. I'm going to place all of them kind of where I want. With position snap on, and then I will move them all later. They actually look quite nice there, but when you're down in the game, they're not going to be there. So maybe I'll slide them down so they're not all completely hidden up there, so that you can see them when you're actually in the game. So now I'm coming over, place. Whoops, don't want them there. Again, the snap to position is extremely useful and a huge time saver when they snap to the position that you want them, but when they don't snap exactly where you want them, then it's a bit of a bummer, because then you've got to move them all. That's okay, and I wonder, you know, I just looked, I have my grid height I can't change the grid height, so they just snap to position. But that's fine. So we'll do the advanced move, and I'll move these down a couple pieces, sort of right there. That way, they're still giving off some light there. I think that's good. So now I want to get these to align roughly in the same place. They don't have to be perfect. It would be nice if they were. Yeah, just a little bit. Yeah, they hang down a bit, and I think that's fine. I think I'm going to change to 5 p.m. Just it gives me a little bit more visibility as to where exactly they're sitting. So that's good. I like that. Let me do these. And I think I am going to do some level of underlighting for these, just to make it look complete. Yeah, I think that's good. Makes neat noises. I've got the volume down pretty low so I can hear myself talking over everything. But I think the screen recorder is actually recording all these in-game audio bits. Ah, went back. Alright, so I gotta make sure I don't have anything in that upper left-hand corner, or upper right-hand corner of the screen, because then it's hidden behind there and I can't actually hit the check mark. Again, you can't see that. So moving that there. That looks good. Yeah, I think that's good, because now you can see the lights when you're, still in the game here, and they're not completely hidden under the roofing. So I think that's the way to go here. And I can do some straight lights along everywhere too. I mean, that's going to be pretty easy to do, because again, with the advanced duplicated move, I can just do that along a straight section and just move them to the end. It's much more difficult and time consuming to do it here when you're working on a curve, because the advanced duplicated move, you've got to do the rotation along with it. So, if you guys are into Planet Coaster and you actually play, instead of just watching me play and doing stuff, let us know. Share some stuff with us in the comments or whatever. I don't know. See, I'm not not a gamer. So I'm not real big into the the Steam Workshop and exchanging and all that. There was a time in my life where I was more on like No Limits Exchange and Roller Coaster Tycoon Town. I don't even know if that site exists anymore. But that's long been gone. I always made decent no limits coasters, and then I started using Newton to do force vector design and everything, and my coasters were much better. If you're on Patreon, if you're on our Patreon page, in this month's Patreon extra show, Andy and I talked a little bit about the whole idea of doing this Planet Coaster thing, and also mentioned Kingfisher, which is the B&M wing coaster I did in No Limits a few years ago, towards the end of my college days. These lights, we don't want the window to interfere, so maybe we'll put them up just a bit higher, and that'll be good. But yeah, Kingfisher was sort of my first and really only real No Limits 2. Well, that's not true. I did Octane as well. Octane was a B&M hypercoaster that I did using Newton in No Limits 2. Looked very, very good. I was very, very happy with it. Didn't do any theming or anything, really. Just did a generic station, like the No Limits default station and everything. And Kingfisher, I actually did the 3D modeling and made my own 3D objects. I made a lighthouse that was sort of your keyhole element, which was really cool. You can check it out. It's on the COASTER-net YouTube channel. If you search for Kingfisher, you will eventually find it. There's a couple videos. There's a daytime with POV and everything, and then nighttime, because I did spend some time doing the lighting. But it was really just spotlights. It wasn't anything elaborate like what you can do here with these fairy lights and spotlights and everything. So check that out if you like seeing the custom no limit stuff. That is certainly something that to this day I'm still proud of. I still think it looks really good. The ride is smooth. The theming is pretty good. Did everything in Pro E in CAD, or no, I did it in Inventor. I still have this student version of Inventor. For those of you that are CAD folks, the Inventor is what I used in high school, and we use Pro E here at work. Well, not here at work. I'm not sitting at work while I'm doing this, but at my work we use Pro E. That's what I use. That's what I use now. The modeling I do for the 3D printer is in Creo, and then we go from there. I export it to Cura for any of you 3D printing nerds that are out there with us. I use Cura as my slicer. I have a Creality 3D CR10V2 3D printer, if that means anything to any of you. So that's what I've been using for all sorts of fun things. A few things for my car and whatnot, and also the ride logo magnets that our patrons get. So that looks pretty good. I'm pretty happy with that so far. Again, it looks slightly Christmassy, but I think it looks pretty nice. I'm happy with it. So now, what I need to do now is I need to do the straightaways, if you will. And those are both covered up by the building, so I don't have to do them on that side. And I'm just going to do the same deal here real quick. I'm going to just do the advanced move, which is very helpful here. So I think here what this, and again, I didn't really, like I said, I didn't really have a terribly, oh no, I want the loose ones. I don't want these. There we go. So, like I said, I didn't really have a big set plan as far as what this park was going to look like in general coming in. This is really just me just letting my creative juices flow as I'm building stuff and see what I come up with. I did know that, again, with some of the restrictions that, Brian and Rob and I decided, sort of settled on for this. It's not really a competition. It's just sort of a friendly thing where we're all doing it. So if you want to build your own park with the restrictions that we've put in, you can go back to the first episode at the beginning where I sort of described that. We're going for a park that's in the 1980s. It doesn't necessarily need to have rides that were all built in the 1980s. So if you want to have an old wood coaster that, might have been built in the 1920s or something, that is perfectly acceptable. And in fact, that's something that I plan to do. I already know what the name of at least that my one coaster is going to be. I'm going to do something very classic. And gonna make it look very old school. As if it were built maybe, sometime between the 1920s and the 1950s, even though this park is set in the 80s. So basically, no B&Ms, no RMCs. We're not doing any of that yet. A couple wood coasters and do some classic rides. I would like to do an aero suspended coaster, which I believe in this game is called a Steel Hydra, which is an interesting name. Now, what's interesting is I'm recording a lot of these videos all at once because it's the weekend currently where I am, and let's see. Unfortunately, those ropes clipped through just a little bit. They don't look completely perfect, but they're close enough for me. So I'm recording these a bunch. And I realized that sort of as I've been commenting these first few videos, which I've done all in the first day that I've been doing this. because I got a weekend and have some time to play. I realized that I've been asking you to comment on things, and that I'm probably not doing any of those things and replying to comments or anything because I haven't commented. I haven't actually posted these videos yet. So I will eventually, if you start commenting on these, I will eventually, as these videos go along, sort of start to get back to that. So yeah, that looks pretty good. I like the way that looks right now. Again, if I change it to 11 p.m., so that looks pretty nice. I mean, it's not really a lot, and you know, I would like to maybe do some sidewalk lighting and things that make it stick out a little bit more. But I mean, that's pretty cool looking. I think that's really nice. And what I may do is put more along here, along the side pieces. So I think I am going to do that, but I'll do that in the next episode because this is already going on very, very long to just put some lights and a nice entrance sign on, but it's and some trees. So I think maybe what I'll do to finish up this episode, perhaps, maybe I'll do some of the more basic lighting. Maybe some sidewalk lighting. What can I find that is? You've got this square lamp strip you can put along the side. I mean, this is nice sort of sidewalk lighting. You know, these look good when they snap to the right places. It's not really what I'm going for. These are called uplights. Sort of go along the sides. Oh. See, that sort of lights it up the way that I want, but the problem is I don't really want them there because during the daytime they would stick out like a sore thumb, and that's not really what I want. So maybe I will just do some floodlights, and I think the right way to use those is this Floodlight 2. And I'll go back to 11 p.m. here to show you how this looks. So I like the way that this looks here. Again, I've got position snapping on. It's not really snapping to the position the way I want. So it's interesting because I've got these fancy lights. I've got these fancy lights here on the side, these fairy lights. But if I put this floodlight on it, it sort of just ruins it, right? So if I unpause the game and you've got these wonderfully, again, you've got these amazing twinkling lights here that look really, really cool. So I don't really want to put a big-ass floodlight here because it completely ruins that. So maybe instead, is there some lighting I can put underneath? Yeah, I don't really want to ruin that because I think that looks really, really cool. So I'm gonna do those fairy type lights all the way around, and also do them over here because I think they'll look really good. So what else could we do then? Again, I don't really want to do anything else there. So I think the best thing to do is maybe put some hanging lights of some sort that can point down on the park entrance, so that it's not completely dark as they're walking in the entrance. I think that's probably the right way to go about things. At this point, you've got street lamps, you've got uplights. Kind of lights do we want to put here? Got this arm light. Can do that. Here's the box light. It sort of comes off the side. Oh, now that's kind of cool. If I could get those to hang down from the windows. Because that's like just the right type of lighting that I kind of want underneath here. I'm going to go into first person so I can kind of get underneath here and see how that looks. It's not really doing what I want, so I think I'm going to have to take the align to surface off, and yep, the rotation's not doing at all what I want. Let's get out of first person. Whoa! Shot me off into space there. Again, back down into that tunnel. Let me get out of first person, or let me go into first person so I can get back to where I want, so I can see what I want. Okay. Let's get out of first person. If I do the align to surface, so these kind of go off to the side. It's not really what I want. I kind of want these from on top. Is there something better that I can do as far as a hanging light goes? I could do like these oil lamps. They look kind of cool. These paper. The Chinese lanterns look really cool in this game. I don't know that I want to use them here. I don't know that it's quite what I want to use them for. But they do look really, really good. See, yeah, that yellowish lighting though looks really cool. But those floodlights, they are, I mean, they're really, really bright. But you can customize them, so I can make them this yellowish color that I had the other lights. I can make them that yellowish, but I don't want it that bright, so maybe I can do more of a golden yellow, and maybe I can make it slightly more subdued. Yeah, okay. I do like that. See, these floodlights, and I'm not going to use them to light up the building. I might use them on the underside here, so I can sort of do... They're not really doing quite what I want. I think I kind of want them on the... oh, that's where I want them. I kind of want them on the underside of my sign here. If I get into first person, I might be able to get up there and get them to do what I want them to. Yeah, that's kind of close to what I want right there. And of course they go away, and I get shot off into space again. Again, this is because I was in first person there. It's been a really long episode for me to just be screwing around with lights. If I do that sort of thing, then, oh, see, that looks really good. I like that. Yeah, I actually do really like that, because it lights up that entrance, sort of in that really, it's really sort of subtle, and I can always change those lights if I want to. But it's got that subtle look. See, I mean, if you did the bright white, I think that's a little bit too much. But if I do the yellow, or even this golden yellow that I've kind of come up with here, I think that kind of looks good. Which do you like better? See, I almost think that yellow is too much. I kind of like this gold color that I've come up with. It's almost like this orangey color. So what I'm going to do is I am going to use the advance move to center this again, because it wouldn't snap to where I wanted it there, and I think I can... Oh, nope. I've edit building with select part. Okay, so it's gonna open up the lights there. That's fine. So we'll complete this here, and we'll put this light here. We've got the fairy lights that look good on the round portions of the entrance gate, and then in the next episode we'll continue with the lighting. I'll work on putting fairy lights on the rest of the entrance building along the straight parts, so that the rest of the building does that nice little fairy shimmer, I'll call it, which I think looks really nice and classic. And then we'll put some bushes and everything, and then we'll get into the park, and we'll start building probably some shops and stalls and things like that. Getting perfectly aligned there with the center as best I can. I think that's about as good as it's going to get. raise this up. Am I still in first person? No, I don't think I am. I'm going to get this back. Oops. Again, being shot off into space by first-person camera. Yeah, the first-person camera is very useful here, though, because you can do these things where you can look up where you need to, which is kind of what I'm doing right now. I kind of want to see where that's going. Yeah, I want it to be attached to the sign, not to the wooden post. And I think it is already attached to the sign. So I'm just going to go right there. That looks good. And then, again, being very, very intricate and OCD about these things, but I want it to be centered of sorts on this sign right there. And maybe I'll actually just hide that bar so it just looks like the 4 lamps that are coming down. And that will be good. And I will get out of that. So now, when I come in here, yeah, I think that looks okay, because if you're standing here and you're walking into the park, you look up and you see, oh, Evergreen Groves, that looks really good, and I'll click done on my building. So I come in and I say, oh, Evergreen Groves, that looks great, because the little wooden beams sort of hide the lights from this view. They're not hanging down, you just don't see these 4 boxes that are just hanging down. And then, again, if I go to 11 p.m., I think, oh, see, I think that looks really cool, because now you've got Evergreen Groves, and you can see that there, and then you see the entrance there, so you know exactly where you're supposed to go. And again, if I unpause it and close out of here and everything, you've got this nice fairy tale lighting, this fairy shimmery lighting, which lights up the buildings just enough there, and I think if you put it elsewhere, I think it'll look good. So, but do some sidewalk lighting, everything. I think this will look quite nice. Maybe we'll do some spotlighting on the trees or something, some subtle lighting on the trees in a green color, and I think that will be good. So our entrance is coming along quite nicely. I would say we're just about done here with the entrance, so I will leave it at that for this episode, and we'll continue with the lighting and hopefully buttoning up the front entrance of the park very, very soon on the next episode. So we'll see you guys then.